my name is Emily Ann and this is the Sasser House. Today we are going to be making the easiest little valance for a window that you've ever heard of in your whole life. I'm a beginner at sewing and it only took me about 2 hours to get this done. So I want to give you a couple reasons why I think that you should make one of these and challenge yourself to make one of these. All you have to do sewing wise is trim in the edges and make a little pocket hole, which I had never done before, but it is so simple. I'll show you step by step how I did it. And then you just tie up your curtain with some beautiful ribbon. The reason that I wanted to make my own curtain for this kitchen window is if you have been here for a little while, you know that we just remodeled our kitchen and it is a beautiful green and pink Barbie doll kitchen. It is my favorite room in the whole house. But with it being a little bit more unique, I couldn't find a curtain that I thought would match and complement this space. So I knew I'd have to try and make one. So what I did is I went to my fabric store with a swatch of our cabinet paint and a swatch of our backsplash and held it up to a bunch of different fabrics until I found what I wanted. You'll want to make sure before you buy your fabric that you measure the size of your window so you know how much fabric to buy. And I always buy a little bit extra just in case I make a mistake. All in all, this is a really affordable DIY project for your home. We used just a pocket rod that I got at Walmart for under $5. Really, really affordable, and you don't even see it, so it doesn't matter. And then my fabric, I've got my receipt right here. My fabric was $7.19. And then I got 2 spools of this beautiful pink ribbon, and they were $5 a piece. So you could probably make one of these for under $30. And y'all know how expensive things are nowadays when you buy them at the department store. I know that I wouldn't have been able to buy something this cute and unique for $30 already made. So if you want to see step by step how I made this curtain, just keep watching.
Okay, so I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to sewing, but if I can do it, you can do it too. And I have faith that I can do it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure the width of our window with our fabric, which is 34¼ inches. Now, I want to allow myself a ½ inch on both ends to be able to fold in and sew together to make a seam. So, since we'll do a ½ inch on both sides, we need to add a whole inch to our measurement, which takes us to 35¼ So, I'm going to cut at 35¼ all the way down, and then we will cut our length after we get our width cut. All right, so we've got our width cut, and now we need to decide what we want to do with our length. So I want this to be kind of like ruched up and bunched up. I don't want it to be the exact length of the window. And my window is just about a perfect square. So if we were doing it the exact length, we would do 34¼ again. But I think, let's see, 34¼ I think I want to at least do half that much, if not double. Double would probably be too much. I think I want to add half that much. So I would add another 18 inches, which is pretty much almost the length. Now I could always do this, and if it's too much, cut it. So I think that's where I will start. Get a little tick mark made. Okay, so that is our width plus our length plus a half of our length. Gets us this big old piece of fabric that we have right here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is fold in my edges of my width, and I'm gonna press that down with my iron so that we get a nice flat seam, and then we will get to sewing. Now I know we want to sew our seam on the wrong side of our fabric. That way we don't see it from the front, and the front looks nice and clean. So I need to determine, I think that is the front. So we wanna fold it in on this side, and I can use some straight pins if I need to, but first thing I need to do is find my ½ inch Okay, so I've got that started. Make sure I'm keeping that straight all the way down. Okay, I'm going to use some straight pins just to know that this is staying where it needs to stay as I move down my fabric.
Honestly, I think the straight on angle is still probably the best.
And we're just going to repeat that same thing on this side. Okay, so now it's time to use the sewing machine, which is very intimidating to me. I have always wanted to do this, y'all, but I have been afraid for so long. I've made a couple little pillow shams, but that's about all that I've done. And one day I'm going to face my fears and really get a tackle on how to use this thing. And the only way to do that is little by little. So I need to rethread my needle because I had some dark brown thread and I'm using this little pink thread now. And it gives you the little instructions. This is the Brother LB 5000 and it can embroider too, which is really cool. And maybe one day I'll do that. So now what I want to do is sew our seams that we have folded and pressed that are ready to sew. And we're doing this on the wrong side of our fabric. Okay, so I'm going to keep this nice and slow because that is going to help me. And I'm going to sew right along our seam. So I'm going to lower my little presser foot. There we go, like that. And I need to slide this just a little further. And I'm going to sew forward. Okay, and now I'm going to sew backwards. And now I'm going to go sew forwards again. And then I'm going to go all the way through, and I'll try to do it as straight as I can do it. Cut that off and see what the damage is. I mean, it's not the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but it's not horrible. That's pretty good. We have one side done. Now we need to do our other side over here, and I'm just going to repeat that same thing. Okay, so I have got our edges done on all the sides except the top. I did the same thing to the bottom that I've done to the sides. I just folded them up, and you can be exact with your measurements or you don't have to be because our length was not as crucial as our width because it's just going to be ruched up by a ribbon, and so it doesn't have to be precise. But what we're going to do for the top is we're going to make a little pocket for our rod to slide through to hold up our curtain. So first thing we're going to do is just fold this up and make a seam the way that we have done this whole time. So I'm going to go through with my iron, and I am just going to get a nice straight edge, and then I'll show you how we're going to make the pocket rod. Now, I am just kind of making this up because I've never watched a video or read a book or seen anybody make a pocket for a curtain rod, but I figure all we're going to do is fold this seam down, and then once that's done, I'll just fold this down and we'll sew right along this edge, and then it'll go right through there. If you're watching this and you are a seamstress or you have had experience sewing and you're cringing because I'm not doing it right, then I am sorry, but I think it will work out in the end. So we will see and find out together. But the whole point of this is trying something new and challenging myself to see if I can do it. And I think I can. And if I can, I know you can too. Okay, we now have all of our edges nice and clean and seamed. You can see right there, we have our little seam. So now it is time to make the pocket for our rod to go in. So we are just using a cheap tension rod that I got at Walmart for next to nothing. And I am gonna go ahead and pull it out just so I can slide it in there and see how much space it's actually gonna need. And then I'm gonna measure that. So that's about 2.5 inches. All the way around is what we need. So all of that is right. So I'm going to iron this. Let's check that down here. It needs to come down just a little. There we go, that's 2.5. I am gonna pin this just to try and get it as straight as I can. And we're gonna sew this on the back side the way we've done everything so far. And then we are going to sew just right along this seam and create a little pocket for our rod. Okay, so here is the front of our little panel. And let's see if this will slide through here. If it doesn't fit, I will probably have a conniption. It fits. Okay. All right. So we have our little rod. And now all I really need to do is cut my ribbon and make sure it fits in the window. Okay, so I have a couple kinds of ribbon that I picked out. One that I think is my favorite is just this pretty soft pink with these kind of raw edges. I really like that one. But if that one didn't look right, I also got this one that's kind of got some ruffled edges, but this one is a lot softer. So I think I want to start with it. And I got 2 little spools of it because I didn't know how much I would need. But before I do any of that, even though our curtain is going to be kind of like ruched up, I do want to iron it, and I want to go through and cut all these little threads. If I wanted to get technical about it though, by like an exact length, since it's a perfect square and our edges are just under what our perfect square would be for the length and width, we could fold this like this and cut it that way. But I want a big bow. And even when we lower the shade and we have less fabric, I still want to be able to tie the shade up. So what I think I'm honestly going to do, just so that I don't cut anything and make a mistake, plus we have a whole nother thing of ribbon, is I am going to go ahead. I'm just going to lay this over the top of the rod until it's about even down here at the ends. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And what we're going to do is just kind of bunch up our curtain. So maybe I'll fold these pieces back a little, and we're just going to kind of roll our curtain up to make like a valance. And now I'm going to take our ribbons and tie a little bow. It's doing pretty much what I wanted it to do, where it kind of leans down on the sides and then is kind of up in the middle. And I may pull this even higher up on our window, but we won't know until we get it on there. So I think it's time to get it on there and then mess with it and see what we like.
Okay, so it's the moment of truth. Let's see if this fits and works up here. I'm just placing it in here, and then I'm going to twist our rod until it is nice and snug where we want it. So I'm just gonna bunch this up to where I think I'd want it to sit on our window. And this is gonna be a little bit of a trial and error process, but when you're not following any directions, that's all you can do is just try until you get it how you want it. So let's pull this other side up. Try to get that level with the other one. And now I'm just gonna pull at this until it's laying how I want it to. So there's obviously a ton of different ways you can style this. You can have this where it's pulled down more in the middle. I've got my bows kind of centered up on this. You could keep the bows more out to the sides, but you can do whatever you want to do. But I think this is coming together really, really cute. So obviously I don't want my ribbon to be this long, but I want it to be long enough so that when I lower the shades, which I don't think we will often, but when we do, I want to see how long they need to be. So let's lower these down. And personally, I like the extra fabric bunched up even when it's lowered. But if you don't like that look, you don't have to do that. You can make your curtain just as long as the length of your window. And then that way, when you lower it, there's no excess at the bottom. And these ribbons would just hang. They wouldn't tie at all. But I kind of like that there's still a little bit of bunch at the bottom and that we can still tie a bow. But I think I'll want to do a smaller bow, and I just don't want a ton of excess hanging. So I'm gonna cut these just a little bit shorter, just like that. Okay, so now that we have that taken care of, we can tie them back up, see how they lay, and I think we'll be done. Curtain on the window. I think that it turned out so cute. I had the vision in my mind of this green and pink, and I could not find anything like it sold in stores, and so I'm so thankful that I challenged myself and got that sewing machine out and gave it a try. This only took me about 2 hours, and I'm a beginner at sewing, so if you do it all the time, this will take you no time at all. It was so simple, and the ribbon just made it so cute, and I think it added so much to our window and to our kitchen. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below for what you'd like to see next. We do all kinds of home renovations, DIY projects, gardening, cooking, furniture flipping content, and we would love to have you a part of our family here at the Sasser House. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.